All right, Retatrutide Masterclass, the optimal protocol for fat loss. Okay, I'm going to make this simple for you. This is what I'm doing. Okay, this is not you have to do what I'm doing. I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a trainer with a brain. I'm an ex-athlete who's been training people for years. I have so many people on GLP-1s, it's ridiculous. And nobody's doing it right. Because at the end of the day, it still comes down to discipline. You have to be disciplined in a few areas that count. Okay? And if not, you'll see a little bit of change and then you'll plateau. So this is what I'm doing. I'm doing Retatrutide. Guess how much? Very small percentage. 2 milligrams. Did I start at 2 milligrams? No. I started at 0.5 milligrams. Okay? I felt it the next day. I felt a difference in my hunger. Wasn't as much. Did that for a week. Went to, by the way, 2 injections a week. Not just one big injection. That's a problem that most doctors will tell you to do. And I'm personally not doing that because I do my own research. I have a brain. Most regular doctors who prescribe you hormone replacement therapy for men will tell you 1 big shot beginning of the week. No bodybuilder does that. And they've been doing it longer. In fact, your doctor's not even on HRT. So, come on. So anyways, any type of thing like this, 1 injection a week, never going to do. I do 2. I do bi-weekly injections. First week, 0.5, felt all right. That was on Monday. Thursday, I did 1 milligram. Definitely felt more of a difference from the 1 milligram. And I was like, cool, that's enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 milligram twice a week next week. The next week, that's what I did. Monday, 1 milligram. Thursday, 1 milligram. I've been doing that for 3 weeks now. That's all I need. 2 milligrams, cut in half, injected twice a week. 1 milligram on Monday, 1 milligram on Thursday. It's great. Brings my hunger down just enough so it makes it easier to be in a caloric deficit, and then makes me more satiated when I eat. I feel fuller when I eat. So that helps me eat less. Now, all right, that's the dosing protocol. That's the discipline with dosing. I am not going to titrate up to 10, 12 milligrams a week. If this is working for me, why would I go up? All my clients experience side effects 5 milligrams or more. It is what it is. Every one of them. Okay? Now, the other thing is, the problem of titrating up, you start at 2.5, right? Or 2 milligrams a week. Inject. Eventually, 2 weeks, I think it's usually 2 weeks, they bump you up to 5. It's double. And if you were doing 2 milligrams, it's more than double. And you're just doing it once a week. Side effects start happening, nauseousness, queasiness. It's not good. It's not what you want. You want to have your appetite suppressed just enough so that you eat less and you're in a calorie deficit and you lose body fat. That's the only thing we're trying to do here. From the body fat loss, you're going to find so many other improvements in your blood work and your energy overall and all kinds of things, okay? All right. So that's the titration. I'm never going to do that. The reason people do it, one, because that's what doctors tell them to do. Because in the clinical trials, that's what they have people do. But you got to understand is that's the maximum dose that the majority of these people could take without drastic side effects. That doesn't mean you have to do that, right? We've got goals here. We want to make slow progression over time. Because all it's doing, all of the higher doses are doing, are making you less hungry. So what do you not want to, do you just want to fast for a week? I mean, if you have a life and you want to do things with your life, fasting for 5 days or 3 days or 4 days or even 7 days, you're not really going to have that much energy to do life. So why would you do that? Because that's what the higher doses are going to, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but they're going to make you less hungry. So maybe you'll go 2 days. Maybe you'll go a whole day without eating. Okay, cool. You can do that. But I'm just going at it from a smarter, more long-term approach, which is bring down my hunger a little bit so I can gradually be in a deficit and lose body fat over time. You know, you don't want to go hard in on this stuff. I mean, it took you a long time to gain the extra 50 pounds that you have on or more that you're trying to get off. And it takes time to lose that body fat too. So allow yourself some grace, give yourself some patience here, work on your patience and do it. Well, this is what I'm doing. Okay. So that's one thing, the dosing, the titration. Okay. Lowest effective dose, diet. Okay. Diet is super important. It's second, right, underneath the dosing, right? To me, you can be dosing it, and I know people, I train people who have dosed at the highest amount of tirzepatide, just tirzepatide right now. Well, and semaglutide, which is the Ozempic, but they've dosed at the highest amount. They were losing weight, okay? On the scale, it was going down. They started to plateau for months. Months. No weight loss. The only explanation for that is they are not in a calorie deficit. Now, every time that I bring this up, and I'm like, well, you're not in a calorie deficit, because if you were, your body fat would be, you'd be losing body fat, thus your weight on the scale would eventually be going down. They say, no, I'm not. I'm eating less than I've ever eaten, and la la la. I say, okay, cool. Have you tracked your calories? And they say no. And I say, I know. I just wanted you to say it. When we start tracking again, guess what happens? Weight starts going down. Because now they're in a legitimate deficit. Now they're seeing the numbers and they know they're in a deficit. Okay? That's what you got to do. All right? So that's the second part. Now, the type of food. Okay? This is huge. Okay? Because think about it. Okay? You've been obese. You've been dealing with losing weight and gaining weight, the yo-yo dieting and stuff. You struggle not only with the amount of food. I've never heard of someone who can't lose weight and is like obese and has health issues, who just eats meat and vegetables and is like, yeah, I'm just obese. I can't lose my. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. Because it's so hard to eat whole foods in a drastic deficit in a drastic extreme surplus all the time to gain that much weight to be obese. You get it from eating breads, pastas, pastries, sweet desserts, all that stuff that's like it's high calories. And you can eat it all the time. It doesn't satiate you. If you just ate protein, vegetables, and fruit, it's hard to really overeat and become obese. I mean, you would. I'd love to see that life. That's a crazy eater right there. So no one actually struggles with that, right? So you think about it, your food choices have been not the best for being at a certain weight and not getting fatter. Not being in a surplus, thus your body retains fat or builds fat storage. So you have to start thinking about food choices. You have to. You can't just be like, well, I only ate half of that panini today. I mean, you can do that, but you're not going to be able to eat much after that because there's so many calories in that panini. you could eat half of a panini and it's 800 calories, and you can't go over 1,200 for the day. That means you've only got 400 more calories for the day. And if you like to eat 3 meals, well, I guess, what do you do? 200 calories in this meal, 200 calories in the next meal? You're not really you're shooting yourself in the foot when you choose to eat the quote unquote half of a panini, because of the bread, and the sauces, and it's not beneficial. It would be better to eat a 300 to 400 calorie meal so that you can eat more later. And if you're eating whole foods, if it's vegetables and just meat and no bread, you're going to feel more satiated, so you're not going to really want to eat that much, like feeling-wise. You're not going to be hungry. So food choices become, it's an educational process. You got to start looking at, and that's where the counting of the calories come in. You weigh the bread, and you put that into the calculator, and you're like, oh no, that's 300 calories? Just the bread? Do I really need the bread? Is it really that valuable? I'll cut the bread out. Boom. You get to eat 300 calories of protein if you want to substitute there. So, and you'll feel more satiated. It'll help you in your weight loss journey. So that's a huge factor. Okay, the prepping of your food. Okay, last thing on food, the prep. Prepping your food. Let's be honest. People who have struggled with their weight don't really make healthy meals. And by healthy meal, what I'm saying is chicken breast, a bowl of berries, and a bowl of broccoli. They don't do that. You're probably making a pasta. You're probably making some spaghetti. You're making sandwiches and stuff like that. It's all got breads, pastas. Those things are part of the reason why you're in a caloric surplus every day, and your body's turning that surplus of calories into adipose tissue, into fat tissue, which is making you gain weight. So figuring out how to use an air fryer, game changer, okay? And it's that simple. It's just, and you know what? Actually, it is that simple and easy. Throw that stuff in the air fryer. Get yourself an air fryer. There's a fantastic air fryer, Tasty. It's non-toxic ceramic. It's on Amazon. I got one the other day. I wanted to upgrade. I've had an air fryer for a long time. Upgraded it. It's fantastic. You make all your meals, and that's all I do now. I mean, make my eggs on the stove, but other than that, everything's in the air fryer, and it makes it so much easier. And you just turn that bad boy on and throw all your food in there, and you're good. All right, last part, right, is physical exertion. All right, exercise. Do you need to exercise on a GLP-1 to lose body fat? Answer is, you never have to work out to lose body fat. Okay? I'm a trainer. I get paid to tell people to work out. I get paid to yell at people to do more push-ups, more squats, whatever. That's a different thing. Weight loss, fat loss occurs from just being in a caloric deficit. Now, your physical exertion adds to your caloric expenditure for the day, which can add to your deficit. So let's say if you just your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories you burn at rest, is 1,500. Okay, so if you ate 1,500 calories, you will be at maintenance. That's your line. You won't be in a deficit, and you won't be in a surplus of calories for the day. You'll just be at maintenance. You'll eat 1,500. If you did exercise throughout the day that burnt 500 extra calories, which is tough. This is just a hypothetical. Then you would be in a 5-calorie deficit. Now, let's say you've got that 1,500 calorie basal metabolic rate, but you only eat 1,000 calories a day. Okay, so now you are in a 500 calorie deficit. Now let's say you did activities throughout the day, workouts, walks, whatever, that made you burn 500 more calories. Then that means that you are now in a 1,000 calorie deficit because your body needs 200 calories of energy for all the activities you've done today, but you're only giving it 1,000. Now you're in deeper of a deficit. That's the only thing really that physical movement training can help you with. But the deficit is created mainly from not eating as much. It's all about eating less. So, it just might take you longer. Being in a 500 calorie deficit from just eating 500 calories less than what you're burning is going to take you longer than if you ate 500 calories less and then exercised and burned 500 extra calories to put yourself in a 1,000 calorie deficit. It's a math game at the end of the day, but the math is simple. Okay? So it depends on what your goals are. My goals, right, during this, continue to work out the same way I've been working out. I do a combination of cardio. I walk the stairs. I do weightlifting sometimes when I feel like it. I do body weight exercises, calisthenics, pull-ups, push-ups. And I like hot yoga. So I'm going to keep doing those things. And if that adds to my caloric deficit, cool, great. But I'm not banking on my exercises to accumulate to 1,000 extra calories of burned, energy for the day. I'm banking on eating in a deficit, and then whatever those extra calories of expenditure are, that's just extra that I'm losing. Extra body fat that's going to get burnt off. Tracking the food's number one. All right, last thing I want to talk about are the side effects of this GLP lifestyle. And for me, Retatrutide, okay? I could tell that my bowel movements slightly changed. People have issues with diarrhea. They have issues with constipation. I never had diarrhea. A little bit of constipation. But not in a way that I needed to go and couldn't go. I just didn't go. So it's less common, but not an issue. And that's part of it. It slows down the GI tract. So I can only imagine if I were to go to 5 or 10 or 12 milligrams a week, my bowel movements would be way less frequent. And that's not cool. In theory, that is not cool in my head. I don't want to play that game. Okay. So that's an issue. Fatigue, it's hard to determine whether the slight fatigue I feel is from the calorie deficit, the major calorie deficit that I'm in, because most days I'm in 1,000 calorie deficit and I'm not struggling to be in that deficit. I'm not hungry and desiring food at all. So I'm really allowing myself to not eat when I'm not hungry. So that means in my late night snacking, it's yo, bro, you're not hungry. Let's stick to it. You got 1,000 calories and you don't need to be consuming anymore. And it's easier to do that. I have found it easier to do that. So I don't know whether it's the fatigue from being in a deficit or the fatigue from the fact that it's 2 milligrams, or if it's from the fact that my dopaminic responses to food are slightly shifted. Because I have felt that. It's not as pleasurable to eat anymore. Not that it was always extremely pleasurable, but since I don't have much of a hunger, when I eat, it's more okay, I did that. I got my protein in for the day. Cool. I'm stuffed. It's not really oh man, oh yeah, this feeds that hunger. because the hunger's just not really there. Good Lord. Somebody's above me dying. Now, one of the things, and I'm used to this, is hydration, electrolytes. Because I've done keto, strict keto, sub 20 grams of carbs a day for a long period of time. And I've done carnivore for a long period of time. And so what I know is when you're on those two types of diets, your electrolytes need to be replenished. You need to be adding salt, potassium, magnesium to your water or taking the supplements. So I've been doing that. So I haven't had any cramping, no issues. But I feel like that would definitely be a thing that somebody could struggle with. Heart rate issues. I feel like I felt a little bit of elevated heart rate the first time I did 1 milligram. And then it hasn't been an issue. But I did feel it. I felt something, and maybe that was my mind, like I can be anxious, like with control. If I feel like, oh no, I took something, I'm feeling a body effect, I can get really in my own head sometimes. So maybe that was that. I'm not sure. I felt a little bit of something, but nothing crazy. The goal for me is 10 weeks on Reta, really being precise with my nutrition, tracking, staying active, and doing all those things. And I did a DEXA scan before. I'm going to do a DEXA scan after the 10 weeks, and we'll see what those findings show. But like, as far as the optimal protocol, that's what I'm doing. And it's not been difficult. It's not been difficult at all. I've been a college wrestler. I've been a wrestling coach. I've been a personal trainer. I've trained in mixed martial arts gyms for so long. I've dieted down for wrestling matches and jiu-jitsu matches, and this is easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's like the easiest thing in the world, but like when it comes to like regular fat loss and being in a deficit, this is a game changer. And I don't need that much. 2 milligrams, 1 milligram, twice a week. That's all I really need. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to start a community and hopefully provide more value within the community for everybody and kind of bring a bunch of like-minded people that want to change their lives and get training, get nutrition advice, get, food advice and follow along with the journey. Come together, join the community. We'll go from there.